What's up? I'm Coach Stacy, and today I want to dive into the technique of a cross. I want to talk about a common error that I see and a very simple way to practice the correct technique and make your punch more powerful and preserve those shoulders. So for this technique, what we need to do is we need to map our hip and our arm together so that they move as one. The hip is going to slingshot that punch out. Someone gave me that analogy the other day and I really liked it. You're gonna hang on to that guard position until the very end, and then your hip's basically gonna throw that punch forward. So what that looks like is I'm here in my guard position with my cross and it's attached to my back hip, right? So remember, one of my hips is facing away from my opponent or away from the bag. To throw that cross, what I need to do is actually activate the hip first. So the hip turns slowly as it comes all the way around and I start to face my partner. Then that's when the slingshot happens and my cross can come out and I can continue the rotation of those hips just a little bit more to really lay in that punch. So if I stop here with my hips, the punch is here. If I turn it just a little bit more, I'm gonna send that punch with just about another inch or so of distance, which is really great when you're trying to reach somebody that is just outside of arm's length. So again, I'm hanging on to that guard position. As I turn that hip, I'm gonna finish by throwing the punch out all the way. So quickly, you won't really have to think about all those components, but at first you really wanna think about hips first, then throw the punch. Bang, just like this, right? So the common error that I see is you start to raise this arm up before engaging the hips. All of your power and your technique is really gonna come from your hips. Your hips control your movement. So if I move my hips, my arms move without any effort. So to keep my arms still while I'm moving my hip takes resistance on my part. So if I just turn my hips, my arms move. We want to activate that because that gives us more power with less effort, right? So I turn my hip and my arm wants to go. See, so if I put my hand up in this position and I throw the hip, the hand wants to come out, right? So hang on to that guard position, turn, bang, then send the punch out, okay? So from the side, as I turn that hip, boom, at the end that punch is going to come out, boom. And so I also should see in your boxer stance position, as you come around for that punch, your back leg should be bent, your heel should be off the ground. That shows that you're really pushing that punch forward. If your legs are straight, you're really not able to completely activate that hip without running into your other hip. I need to release that leg and you can see my hip moves much more easily, right? So my knees need to be slightly bent. So I've got, I have a little bit of spring to my technique. I've got a little someplace to move. If I'm straight, I'm kind of locked in. So legs are a little bit bent, turn, and as I turn, then I can send out that cross. So give it a try in class. You're gonna have to break that down, practice it nice and slowly. It can be really helpful to look at it in a mirror because I always say if you've been practicing a technique incorrectly for a long time, it's gonna feel right to you. So in order to change it over to the correct technique, it might feel a little bit awkward at first, but you need to see it, make sure you're doing it right, and then go, oh, that's what it should feel like, okay? So I definitely recommend practicing it nice and slow at home. That way when you come on the bags, you can still slow it down, right? So I can work nice and slow, hip, arm, right? And then as I get more comfortable with that, I can go hip, arm, ba-bump, ba-bump, ba-bump. That's the cross that we're looking for. Give it a try this week, and I'll see you on the floor.